You won't believe how vanished mall restaurants secretly connect to ancient foodways that sustain Native American communities for centuries. Long before food courts, traditions like the Three Sisters of Corn, Beans, and Squash pioneered true sustainability. From York Steakhouse to Morrison's Cafeteria, these lost eateries echo how our diets evolved through time. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe for more nostalgic food history. Close your eyes and picture it, the hum of blenders echoing through the food court, the neon lights bouncing off shiny trays, and in your hand a frosty cup of orange Julius. Half smoothie, half mystery, it was the drink that turned an ordinary mall trip into something magical. That tangy citrus mixed with a creamy sweetness was unlike anything you could make at home. One sip cooled you down after hours of wandering from store to store, and suddenly the mall felt like the center of the universe. Part of the charm was the ritual, the sound of ice crushing, the sweet aroma of oranges lingering in the air, and the foam tickling your upper lip as you drank. For many, it was the first grown-up mall treat, not candy, not soda, but something that felt special and sophisticated. Though Dairy Queen still sells orange Julius today, the experience isn't the same. Standing at a dedicated counter, clutching that cold paper cup while friends laugh beside you, that belongs to another era. Pop culture even turned it into shorthand for mall life, a taste of carefree days that modern food courts just can't capture. Imagine walking into the mall on a Saturday afternoon in the 1980s, the air suddenly shifting as the buttery, yeasty aroma of fresh pretzels wrapped around you. That smell was the beacon of hot Sam. You'd spot the glowing logo, and before long you were biting into a warm, chewy pretzel, salted just right, or maybe dipped into that little plastic cup of molten cheese. Some kids swore by the cinnamon sugar version, a sticky, sweet reward after hours of window shopping. Hot Sam wasn't just food, it was a ritual. Friends would gather around, tearing pieces apart, laughing with mouths full, while shoppers passed by holding those iconic paper sleeves. For many teens, it was a snack that turned the food court into a hangout, a place where memories stuck as firmly as the cheese to your fingers. Founded in 1966, Hot Sam grew fast but couldn't keep pace with rising competitors like Auntie Anne's. By the early 2000s, the original brand quietly disappeared. Still, for anyone who tasted that first buttery bite, the memory lingers stronger than the aroma itself. If you're enjoying this trip, hit like and subscribe for more. Before the Golden Arches dominated every highway exit, there was Burger Chef, a mall favorite that gave shoppers something revolutionary: freedom. Picture it standing in line with your tray, then heading straight to the Works bar, a self-serve topping station overflowing with lettuce, onions, pickles, and sauces. For kids and adults alike, it felt like building your own masterpiece, a burger limited only by imagination. The taste was simple but satisfying. The bun warm in your hand, the crunch of fresh pickles, and the thrill of piling on more ketchup than any parent would ever allow at home. In the bustling food court, Burger Chef felt like a playground for your appetite, a blank canvas where every bite was your own creation. Founded in 1954, the chain grew rapidly, even rivaling McDonald's at its peak with over 1,000 locations. But as the fast food wars heated up and malls shifted, Burger Chef couldn't keep momentum, closing its final doors by 1996. Looking back at these first three, Orange Julius, Hot Sam Pretzels, and Burger Chef, each offered more than food. They were rituals, smells, and flavors that defined mall life. Which of these would you bring back first if you had the chance? Step into a 1970s mall and you might remember the scent of sizzling oil drifting down the corridor, pulling you straight to Arthur Treacher's fish and chips. For $1, you'd walk away with a golden fried fish fillet sandwich, a paper cup of tartar sauce, and a drink. The batter was crisp and salty, the fish steaming hot inside, and the first bite always delivered a satisfying crunch that cafeteria fish sticks could never match. The experience wasn't just about taste, it was status. Teens with open lunch privileges strutted through the mall, trays in hand, showing off their freshly fried catch. The crackle of the fryer, the bold red and blue sign, and the tangy hit of tartar sauce made every trip feel like freedom served up on a paper tray. Arthur Treacher's became a seafood icon in malls across America, but times shifted. As health trends rose and competition grew, its hold on food courts began to fade. Though a handful of standalone shops survive today, the bustling mall counters are gone. For many, that crispy fish and creamy sauce weren't just food, they were a rite of passage into teenage independence. Long before delivery apps or stuffed crusts, a trip to Shakey's Pizza in the mall felt like walking into a party. Picture the clatter of long communal tables, the clinking of root beer mugs, and in the background a lively player piano or even a banjo strumming out a tune. The air was thick with the scent of bubbling mozzarella, tangy tomato sauce, and that unforgettable cornmeal dusted crust. Friends piled in after school ordering pepperoni pies with baskets of crispy mojo potatoes, while families gathered to celebrate birthdays. The laughter, the jukebox chatter, and the arcade games tucked into the corner made every slice taste like part of a bigger event. This wasn't just about pizza, it was about community and carefree hours when no one checked the clock. Founded in 1954, Shakey's expanded to hundreds of locations, becoming a cultural staple in the 1970s. But as delivery chains and changing dining habits took over, the festive halls of Shakey's grew quieter until most of them faded away. For those who experienced it, Shakey's wasn't just a pizza joint, it was the soundtrack of growing up. Imagine pausing your mall shopping spree in the 1970s and stepping into Morrison's cafeteria. The noise of the crowd gave way to the comfort of clinking trays, the smell of fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and green beans steaming behind the glass line. You shuffled forward with your tray, eyeing slices of pie perched like trophies at the end of the counter, each one practically whispering your name. For many families, Morrison's was more than a pit stop. It was like sitting down at grandma's table right in the heart of the mall. Parents appreciated hearty, affordable meals, while kids delighted in choosing their own sides, piling cornbread next to fried catfish or roast beef. The dining room hummed with conversations, the kind of warmth that made you linger long after the meal was gone. Founded in 1920 in Alabama, Morrison's spread across malls in the South and beyond. But as cafeterias fell out of style and fast food quick service chains surged, Morrison's charm couldn't compete, gradually fading into memory. Thinking about these last three, Arthur Treacher's Golden Crunch, Shakey's festive pizza nights, and Morrison's home-cooked comfort, what kind of mall meal would you have chosen back then? If you're enjoying this trip, hit like and subscribe for more. Step back into a 1980s food court, and there it was, a stand devoted entirely to the humble baked potato. But these weren't ordinary spuds. At the stuffed potato, they arrived oversized, steaming hot, and split wide open, practically overflowing with toppings. Sour cream melting into fluffy insides, shredded cheddar stretching with each bite, bacon crumbles, adding that salty crunch. Some went all in with chili and chives, while others treated it like a taco bowl, stacking on meat, salsa, and jalapenos. The appeal was its sheer abundance. For just a few dollars, you walked away with a meal that filled you up more than any slice of pizza ever could. Friends sat huddled at plastic tables, laughing as they compared who managed to finish theirs, the air thick with the smell of cheese and baked potato skin. It burned bright as a trend, flashy, fun, and indulgent, but like many mall crazes, it faded by the early 1990s. Still, for a brief moment, the stuffed potato was the king of comfort food, its foil-wrapped warmth remembered long after the stands disappeared. In the 1970s and early 80s, a trip to York Steakhouse meant you could sit down to a full steak dinner without ever leaving the mall. The cafeteria-style line felt familiar, tray in hand. You'd slide it along, watching steaks hit the grill, baked potatoes wrapped in foil and sides like mac and cheese, waiting to be scooped. For a family on a budget, it was an affordable taste of luxury, served right alongside shoppers carrying bags of clothes and records. The food itself was simple but hearty. A sizzling steak resting beside a butter-melting potato, the tang of barbecue sauce, the sweetness of cornbread, all eaten under the glow of fluorescent lights. It wasn't fine dining, but for many teenagers on a date or family celebrating a small occasion, it felt close enough. Founded in 1966 in Columbus, Ohio, York expanded quickly, reaching nearly 200 locations by the early 1980s. But as food courts shifted toward faster bites, the slower pace of a sit-down steakhouse no longer fit. One by one, the doors closed. Still, the memory of cutting into a steak on a plastic tray in the middle of a buzzing mall remains vivid for anyone who experienced it. If you ever walked into a mall birthday party in the 1970s, chances are you heard the roar of Farrell's before you even saw it. Servers in bow ties dashed across the room, sirens blaring, carrying enormous sundaes topped with sparklers that lit up the dining hall like fireworks. Kids pressed their faces against the candy counter while teenagers dug into towering banana splits, each spoonful a mix of fudge, cherries, and laughter. The energy was electric, singing, clapping, and the occasional crash of dishes adding to the chaos. Farrell's wasn't just about ice cream. It was about creating a spectacle. For parents, it was the ultimate place to spoil their kids, and for kids, it was where birthdays felt larger than life. Founded in 1963, the chain spread fast, peaking with over 100 locations by the mid-70s. But as malls evolved and quieter dining experiences gained favor, the over-the-top showmanship faded until Farrell's itself became just a memory. Thinking back on these three, the stuffed potatoes, hearty indulgence, York's affordable steak dinners, and Farrell's birthday chaos, what kind of mall moment would you most want to relive? Comfort food, family dining, or pure celebration? Walk into a mall food court in the 1980s and you might have spotted the rustic wood paneling, and the iconic horseshoe logo of Roy Rogers. More than just another burger joint, it offered something unforgettable, the Fixin's Bar. After ordering a roast beef sandwich or a crispy fried chicken platter, you could head straight to that bar, piling on lettuce, onions, pickles, and their signature sweet barbecue sauce until your tray looked like a feast. The smell of sizzling beef mingled with tangy sauces, while the clatter of trays and laughter of families made it a gathering spot as much as a restaurant. For many, Roy Rogers felt like a slice of the American West tucked into the heart of a bustling mall. Kids loved creating their own masterpieces, and adults enjoyed a hearty meal that felt customizable long before build your own became a trend. But as faster, streamlined chains rose to dominance, Roy Rogers faded from malls, leaving only scattered locations behind. Still, those who remember the Fixin's Bar recall it as pure freedom. One last stop of indulgence before heading home with shopping bags in hand. Your comments keep these memories alive. Drop yours below, and don't forget to subscribe for more nostalgic trips just like this. These vanished mall restaurants may be gone, but their flavors and memories remind us how food always tells a bigger story. From the neon glow of food courts to the timeless Three Sisters traditions of Native communities, our diets have always reflected culture change and resilience. If this trip sparked a memory, share it in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our next journey into food history.